Howdy everyone, it's Kyle. Back with more Factory Town. I already clicked continue, so I had to quick start the stream before we actually finished loading in, although it's taking a while, so maybe it's a non-issue. Alright, so I left off yesterday. I was getting my Fire Temple all good to go. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to improve the setup by the Air Temple as well, because I know that it's not really getting enough work done on it. Then what I want to do is I want to improve my mana brick setup so that I can pump them out a bit faster, because I know that that's kind of been a sticking point lately, and then maybe tear down this setup and build it elsewhere. I guess I can leave the mana crystal one, it's not really a big deal, but then we can finally start redesigning some stuff. So, air stones. No, mana crystals. These shrines cannot keep up. Well, maybe not all of them, I guess. Some of them can, but yeah, you have a quick look at what the network looks like. It's pretty large, but it could also probably be expanded. Are these increased? No, so this will help right away just by adding Omni Stones to the existing network. I don't think I actually have enough to do all of the 80 upgrades. But I'll at least do some of them on 80 upgrades. This setup is full. Okay, yeah, there's just not enough going on in there. Alright, and I'll just do the 10 and 25s on each of these, although I am still gonna run out. Oh well, it'll resolve itself in a little while, and then I'll look at this and wonder why it's weird and be like, I don't understand what's happening, what? Okay. So I can add a couple more shrines, redesign the layout, and hopefully actually get these crystals doing what there's the shard mines nice and reloaded in a pipe. Okay. So I'm gonna have to restructure things a wee little bit. I guess I'll delete all these that have empty crystals on them. It's actually not gonna be as hard as I thought. I mean, that's a good thing, so just have to connect all of these, grab splitters and put splitters on them, and then just feed them to a receiver. That was a nice, simple, quick upgrade to the existing system, which will hopefully allow us to get the crystals recharged. And then once I get more Omni Stones, I can boost it as well. Beautiful. Okay, so now that that's taken care of, I'm gonna go look at modifying the mana brick assembly line. I don't need... I guess I can trash all of this. So, goodbye mine. I guess I'll keep the potato barn, I don't need to destroy that. But I can get rid of this, and I can get rid of this, and dramatically reduce this footprint of this whole building. What is this for? It's just making mana crystals, but it's also full. Probably don't need that anymore. Okay. Means I don't need this mine. Okay, and then coal also is not needed. Okay. Keep the stonemason. delete a bunch of this stone that's on the ground over here on the left as well, because there's nothing actually in it anymore. It's all depleted. I've realized I've made a terrible decision. I forgot to get a drink. Sorry guys, one sec. Problem has been rectified. I guess I have no reason to delete these barns. I can just throw them into the new setup once I get it built. So this mine's gonna delete, or mine rather, not delete, from these stones. I don't really need to delete all of those. Get rid of all of these, because they're just gonna be eyesores. Okay, so I don't really need to build this setup anywhere close to anything. You know what, let's go throw it in the spot in the ocean where I put things that are just random. So, next to my other abominations, we'll build a setup to create mana bricks. So, I guess I can unpause the game right now, it doesn't really matter. And terrain block up to the surface, destroy a bunch of schools of fish in the process. Okay, make sure this is actually level so that when I go to flatten it, bad things don't happen. Bye fish. Suppose I probably should have left the old system until I had the new system done, because if I do lava as my fuel source, which I was planning on doing, that requires me to build a crystal energy infrastructure, which requires living bricks. Okay. Alright, got some weird little peninsula. Let me think. So, let's place a mana forge. I know I need mana crystals, and honestly, so I need fuel, I need stone, and I need mana crystals. So let me get. I'm gonna try out the packager. Bundles and unpacks. So do they have to? Okay, yes. Never mind, this isn't gonna help me. So I'm not transporting anything over a distance. Okay. So I need a couple of mines. At least one. Let's see, one mine. That'll be for my mana shards. Then probably 2 for stone masons. Okay, I'm gonna place my stone ones. I find it a little interesting that the cursor kind of breaks once you get this far away from the mainland. Okay. Set all of these. They'll chew through them at the speed of light, which is whatever. And need 2 magic forges. One here. One here. This one will make mana crystals, and this one will make mana bricks. And I need a stone mason. Where's the back at the top? Okay. So, connect everything up using conveyors. probably want to add 2 layers. I probably don't need 2 layers coming out of this setup, but I guess it's better safe than sorry. Make sure throughput is a non-issue. Yeah, because this is already like not able to keep up. Alright. I mean, now it can't keep up because this isn't doing anything, but I need fuel. Which will take fire crystals and a recharge infrastructure. So let me just throw one lava generator, sorry, fire shrine, that's what they're called. And this will probably work for both of these. It's not going to be making that at a ridiculous rate, but I think it'll still end up being faster than the other one. And then let me build a mana receiver. Rotate it to face the correct direction. A transmitter. Kind of working on borrowed resources at this point, but let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5. So I can put it here for a 5 large one, which is probably good enough. And rechargers. Okay, so I actually need to get crystals over here, which is going to be moderately tedious, but shouldn't be impossible. Could borrow some fire crystals from this system, but that's probably irresponsible. So I'll just borrow them from over here. Okay. So we should see a flow. I don't need very many, so there we go. And clean up the line behind it. Once these firestones make it and we start producing lava, then we should be in business. And I just need to build storage for all of the mana bricks. Beautiful. Okay, so that's in the system. Making lava. No, of course it's jammed up because I forgot to put down pushers. Okay, and just in case, let's upgrade these. This has power, this has power, but of course they have power and they don't have any output, so... Now let's build a massive barn system that just spirals into the sky, because I think that'll be fun. So let me think, if I do it this way... Building is taller than 4 blocks, so it's not going to work. It will have to actually go up a little bit faster than that. I have to go up 2 blocks at a time. How unfortunate. Mostly because it means I have to use grabbers, which are annoying. Okay, so let's see. How does this system work? Seems like it's doing its job okay. Outputting it basically as quickly as it can. No hiccups. Not yet, at least. This is going at lightning speed, this is going at lightning speed. And then this is the limiting factor, so seems good to me. Probably as fast as I can get one of them to make them. And the question is, Do we set up 2? The answer is probably yes. So let me move this rather than destroy it. And same with this. And upsize this infrastructure ever so slightly. So we can have 2 mana forges. Set both of them to mana bricks. That being said, I'm gonna have to increase the size of this then, because it, okay. This I think is still fine as it is. Because this takes as long as this to produce the item. I can't really scale this up actually. Never mind, I'm not going to scale this up. I'm going to be content with what I have. Whoops. I accidentally created a new barn. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but it matters. Gotta make the lower level of all these barns look nice. This will hopefully be, mostly once I have a large enough infrastructure, it shouldn't matter too much. As far as like my rate of production is concerned, because I'll have enough time between needing them to actually make the new ones. Because I don't think the actual speed of this is going to be much different than what we had going on before, although I think it wasn't able to deliver resources fast enough in some cases, probably like coal. Now they should have a consistent fuel setup. Alright. I guess I'll unpause the game so it keeps working while I'm messing around. Alright, now we have a system that can spiral indefinitely into the sky. And after the first layer, I won't need to build pretty scaffolding. Okay. Like way higher up than it needs to be. But it'll be fine. I'll probably want, I don't know, maybe 2400 storage, which is what, 4 times the size of what I currently have. But that should mean that I don't run into issues on that front. Okay, throw down the last barn before I go and actually put the blocks down that need to be there, i.e. the conveyor belts and grabbers. Okay, so how many barns do I have? I have 4 there. I'm almost at 8. So 8 would be double. I guess I have to do this 2 more times then. Can throw don't know why I chose to design this in a counterclockwise way when everything rotates clockwise, but just ignore that little bit. Okay. So our mana brick tower, I think, is almost done. Let me count again. So this is, I just have to finish this layer, and then I'm at my desired capacity. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so we should start seeing items flow into this barn unless I missed a grabber somewhere. Why are these not... Oh, this conveyor is backwards. There we go. Okay. So now I'll have plenty of living bricks, and this count is going to flicker around for a long time, but should trend upwards. So now we can go back to doing other more important things, like finishing upgrading those rechargers that I said I'd forget about. Okay, so which of these still need upgrades? These ones do. Got plenty of little fireworks. More or less. Some of these still are just like, they're just getting totally prioritized, so they don't have anything left, but then this one is full. Like, these ones are all full. So ridiculous. And I guess eventually, because there is a little bit of overlap. Okay, there's not really much overlap, never mind. But these are all full, mostly because I'm not doing much with my fire crystals right now. That's what I should do. I should actually make a system to build magic rails. So, it's my fire temple. It makes crystals and does it pretty quickly. Now I have to find a place to build those crystals and do something with them. So, let me look at my options. I know I'll need a magic forge, so I can pretty easily just throw down a magic forge without thinking too hard about it. Okay, set it to be magic rails. And build a conveyor in. This is able to output faster than it can make them, so I don't need to make another line. And now I need rails, and I need lots of fire. So, how does one make rails? I know you make them at a machine shop, and I don't think they're too bad. Machine shop. A rail takes 2 iron, 2 stone, and 2 wood, and 5 seconds. So I literally need half of a fulfilled machine shop to produce enough rails. So let me clear out the space and put one here and connect it into my forge. It's not level. I guess it doesn't need to be, I want it to be stone at least. Okay. No, I don't need a steam generator. It's a machine shop. Set it to be rail tiles. So now I need iron, which I've got access to, and then wood and stone, which can easily be, I've got access to wood, although I'll probably want to make it a bit more dense. I guess I'll look at it this thing. I'll build a sawmill right kind of here. build it up in the air a little bit. What the heck? Oh yeah, it's because it's on different levels. Forgot about that. So I guess I'll use some pillars kind of as like base. Sure, why not? Just have to make sure that I can actually reach it with my lumber mill. Probably only need one lumber mill, and I know that a single lumber mill has 5 spaces worth of reach, so I want to actually have my trees fill that entire space so that it doesn't run out. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this will be where the forester goes. So let me throw that down right now. I guess I'll put the lumber mill as well. Set it to be planks. So it takes 2 planks in 6 seconds. That's still more than enough, because that's a non-issue. And then build the forester back up at the top. Set it to be wood, and it will chew through a bunch of them real quick, but I'm gonna delete a bunch of stuff and replace it with trees. 2, 3, 4, let's see, 4, 5. So, 2. Okay, so now I've got this essentially just big ol' gap of trees that need to be built. Actually, let me get that all placed first, because I'm gonna need to actually place my need to place tree planters underneath the naturally existing trees as well, which is gonna have to click individually on. Ooh. I guess it's just shape of the terrain or something. No, the official answer is it's just inconsistent, so I guess I'm gonna spam click. But in these cleared areas I can pretty easily do it. Oh, I think it's based on terrain, height, elevation changes. Which of course there are quite a few in this area. Okay. Almost done. Okay, so now we'll plant the trees. And this should be pretty simple, right? Yeah, I can just paint over this and don't have to worry about it. So now this forester will have all of the trees it could ever possibly chew. And I think I actually need multiple lines feeding out of it to sufficiently pull from it based on all of the stuff that it outputs. We'll do 3 lines, which might end up being excessive, but it's better to be excessive than fail to meet demand. Okay, this will chew through the logs real quick. This is able to output at full speed, which is good. This will be full in a very short period of time. And now to build my mines. So, I need a forge. I know a forge can make 2 iron in 8 seconds, so it's only going to take 1 forge and 1 iron mine to meet that demand. I've got plenty of iron around. I'm trying to think. how I want to go about, because I'm going to need to get stone in here as well. That could be where it starts to get a little tricky. Stone's going to take more space, so I think I'll build my iron mine here. No, it'll be fine. I'll just build it with a little more space to enter the machine shop. I'll clear a little bit out of this and a line there. And this will be where I'll put my forge. I don't even think I'll need the 2 blocks actually, but if I give it the extra space, I won't run any risks of having issues. So, forge. I guess it gives me a good place to set up my fuel intake. Iron plate and output line. So, I need 1 mine. Feeding directly into the back of this. Which will also have 3 lines just in case, although I don't think that's going to matter either. So, thankfully this is the fire area, but I need fuel. So I'll build fuel to go between these 2 buildings. I can just kind of build it over this line, and then we should be fine. So I'll need a lava shrine, or a fire shrine. And I guess I'll make the iron forge priority. You know, screw this, I'm moving it closer. And I move it. I keep forgetting you can move things, I don't have to destroy it. Eventually I'll break that habit, and it'll be a good day indeed once I do, but until then. Okay. So 1 this way, 1 this way. To maintain priority, I guess I'll do it that way, and then the grabber will pull the excess. But I need to build a network for it. Thankfully I have easy access to firestones because this is where they are produced. Question is, where do I want to put rechargers? I think the answer is probably just above the mana crystal line. So let's do this as the receiver. Do my math wrong on this, or is this still working on it? Whatever. It should still be working on it. It's hard to tell once it gets past like a point where it updates frequently. So here's a receiver. 3, 4, 5. 5 will probably be enough. And if it's not, we can just expand anyway. And upgrade with Omni Stones, which I'll probably do anyway as well, because it keeps infrastructure small, which is always nice. And now we need rechargers. And I should actually put down my logistics blocks this time before I forget. Upgrade all these guys. You know, I'll give them the 80. They deserve it. They probably don't need it, but they deserve it. Okay. So, firestones. You go that way. Alright. Now I'll actually have them enter the system and do their job. So now we're producing. Should be producing all of the elements. No, we are not. Of course, we need stone still. So I have to be careful. I can't. I don't want to run into this forester. I guess it's probably a non-issue. I just will go over. Let's see, because yeah, these trees are all in reach. These trees are not in reach. So I will delete these and put my stonemason here. Set it to bricks. Takes 1 every 4 seconds. Do I need 2? I do need 2. I'm only shooting for 8 seconds, but if I need 2, then I do actually have to fill the need on this, which means I'll need 4 mines. This is where those stop, so I can kind of just delete all this good stuff. Alright, mines. I should probably level the terrain before I build all these. Okay, terrain is now on the same level. One, two, 3, 4, sure, why not? Everything. Okay. This is gonna be kinda silly. I think this could be an opportunity for me to use the packager. To move everything a very small distance, but that way I only need 1 line instead of 4 lines. So yeah. I will put the packager immediately behind the stonemason. One of them. It's gonna take 2. We're gonna move things a few feet, but it'll be hilarious. Okay, so 1 there. And I guess... I think 1 here will work. Literally moving it a couple feet, but I mean, at that point I should just daisy chain barns, shouldn't I? Yeah. Let's do that. Someday. Give all these barns lots of hookups, so throughput is a non-issue. At least it shouldn't be. I can upgrade them if I need to. To have more lines, I'll just have to spread it out a bit more. Okay. So now I can put 1 line on either side, which is a lot easier to work with. Okay. Need to delete these. Go buy trees. Give these guys some stones to eat. Beautiful rocks. Just fill this area in with nice little rocks. Okay. Make sure there are lots of conveyors. 3 should be enough. And then hope that the barns can handle it. So, stone. Stone. Stone! Okay, no. Oh, it's because it's full, that's why. Holy shit, it fills up so fast. That's pretty good. Okay, so this actually has to output into the machine shop if I plan on doing anything with it. Okay, so I do need multiple lines, because it's not outputting fast enough. Might as well upgrade the forge as well, because it'll suffer the same fate without the upgrade. Okay, so now we're more or less meeting demand. This one needs an upgrade too. They all need upgrades. They can go as fast as friggin' possible. Okay, but of course now this building is full, so now I need to actually build storage, hooray! And now I can just build my barns, I guess. And where do I want to build them? I don't want to run into the stone, so I guess I'll rotate this, have it output this way, and then just build my barns like this. Just a nice straight line. Build 8 of them if I can. Okay, let me hook up the first one. That should output fast enough. Yeah, it's fine. Nope, I deleted more than I needed to. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fit all of these here. Okay, the most I can fit is 5, but it's still 1,000 rails. It's pretty good. Okay, so now this will keep going consistently. And the forge itself is the limiting factor currently. Okay, so yeah, I guess if I really want to, I can upgrade this, but I don't really need to. I'll be producing more than enough rails to meet my needs for the time being. And in true fashion, I should probably upgrade the rail that feeds this system. I only have 89. What happens when they go over it? They go real fast. Doesn't even seem like it would necessarily need... What happens if I build a segment? Does a segment increase the speed, or does it just maintain it? Okay, so it's kind of like Minecraft powered rails, I guess. So we don't even need to build a whole line out of them. We can just put them in little spots. Go pretty far even without slowing down. Gonna crash into each other. Oh no, I broke it. Here we go, upgrade my hotbar slot. I love how you can tell where things slowed down at one point because they'll bump into each other. You have to like wait till the whole system works itself out before you can tell if it's been fixed or not. Okay, I guess now we'll go look for things bumping into each other. Okay, they need extra rail here. I wonder if more rails like increase the momentum, so maybe like it stores the power. I guess at this point I'm not gonna know, but there I've speckled the trail with rails to make them go faster. Beautiful. And then slowly over time these barns will fill up, and then eventually once the barns are full this will stop, but for now, it's gonna go, go, go. Alright, so that done. Now what do I do? I feel like I needed to do something important before I started doing other things, but I can't remember what it was. So it must not have been that important. Still doing everything okay, it seems like it. Gosh, this system still has a chute. Still has multiple chutes. That's crazy. Needs an upgrade. I guess it doesn't really, because it isn't going any faster. Oh well. Whatever. It's working. I think it might be time to redesign things. I can't think of anything else that I absolutely need to do. Also, I don't know what it was, maybe it was an update or something, but the chutes seem to be going like at a lot higher momentum. These little irons are going so fast. I don't understand what happened, but I like it. It's fun to see it just shoot down at 1,000,000 miles per hour. I can't help but notice that these top lines have nothing in them. Is there a reason for that? It's just because the system is flowing as quickly as possible, I guess. Except this one is not. getting anything? It's all going to this forge and it's being used immediately. Yeah, whatever, it's for a line that's going to get torn down anyway, so I am probably going to start by redesigning my food, which desperately needs to be redesigned. Oh, my shit carts are done. Hey, how did those carts get there? They had stuff in them already. They already had stuff in them by the time they got to the end of the line. They're not supposed to be able to get back on the line. Was the big idea. They're like escaping. They're full, but they're escaping. What's happening? Is it letting us? I don't understand. Its only job is to check to see if they have fertilizer, and if they have fertilizer, to not let them go down that path. Oh, they'll go down that path if they... Okay. If they can't go straight, they'll go down that path. Interesting. Wonder how I could fix that. That being said, I don't really need to fix that. But with future designs, it's probably something worth considering if I want to make exclusive areas. Obviously, I think what this means is that the pusher is not the answer. But the problem is that if I use like well, let me try something. I haven't tried this before. Is it truly impossible to stack logistic blocks? Because a sorter theoretically would solve this issue. So what if I sort it to fertilizer? Do they interact with that at all because it's inside the block, or does it not impact them? Does not impact them, okay. I guess I just have to design my track differently so that the natural direction would be to go onto this path, and then a sorter would just force them to stay on the path. It's not as fun as using compute blocks, but it would be consistent, which this currently isn't. I guess this would be pretty simple to solve now that I think about it. So I'm gonna pause the game real quick. I'm going to enable this pusher, but then I'm pretty sure I could just use a blocker with fertilizer as the filter. Yeah, okay, that's a lot easier. Okay. Well, did that. That's a thing. I think it's time to tear down the food lines. Some of them are kind of doing okay. Most of them are not meeting needs. Okay, none of them are meeting needs, but some of them are doing worse than others. So, my new lines will need to be slightly different due to my updated rule set. Notably that I cannot rebuild a juice line. I will need to build a fruits and vegetable line because not fruits and vegetables. I need to make a vegetable stew line to fulfill that need because it's worth the most. Fruit juice is not worth enough. Satisfaction. It needs to be worth 100% satisfaction. Butter is still good. Sandwiches are still good. Meat skewers is still okay. All that stuff is good. So, how am I going to go about doing this? Well, I think I'm going to tear down everything. Pause the game and just begin destroying. Honestly, at this point, let me just delete these guys. Or at least some of them, because I'm only going to have one line. I guess I'll reroute this so it doesn't have to traverse terrain. But I might build either a whole new setup or just, yeah, honestly that might be what I do. Problem is like it's being used to fuel my, my mana pipe supply, but by the same token it's kind of gonna end up being in my way as far as designing other food lines are concerned, but can probably reduce the overall footprint of a lot of these now. I guess that's one thing I need to do before I destroy everything, even though I already kinda did, and that is figure out how long it takes for items to be consumed. I'm pretty sure all of my 100% items are going to take 12 seconds, and then butter takes 9 seconds to eat. And we'll see what this house consumes once it's done eating a sandwich. Eat stew. Okay. We'll wait till it's done eating stew, and hopefully it'll eat some butter, so then I can verify. It's probably gonna have a hard time eating butter because I destroyed my butter line. Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure butter's 9 seconds, so I will budget it under that assumption. I'll delete one of these food. Honestly, I should keep the one in the air, but I won't. General store is going to be in the way as well, but kinda need it still, because things are being sold into it. So we must begin the era of destruction. Cleanse this land of the inefficient, vile, inefficient, putrid food lines. So we can replace them with new, fresh food lines. Here we go. Now I can delete with lightning speed. None are safe from my gaze. I don't know. Words are hard right now. I am struggling to utilize any of them in any reasonable fashion. I am noticing that I cannot delete these berry bushes. Ah, yes, I have to use the remove resource item, or tool. I cannot select this barn. Oh, it's because I still have remove resource selected. There we go. Oh, ooh, I didn't think about this. I guess, yeah. I was like, I don't have wheat in a shared inventory, but that's not true. I've got this one. Just, gonna have to wait for it to refill. I guess I can improve that rate, though, by upgrading its conveyor line. That will make life easier. Okay. Throw that down. And go back to destroying everything. Without destroying things I don't mean to. That's gonna be the tough part. Okay. This is all gone. It's not letting me delete my grain. Delete the ceiling above the grain mills. Good lord. Okay. Nothing may remain standing. My villagers must starve. It's like hard to tell where things are at this point. Some of these lines are... I realized I mentioned, I'm like, oh, I'll be able to reduce the footprint. That might be true because, like, the sandwich farm is, like, really not efficiently laid out, but the other ones aren't that bad, and they weren't meeting demand. And part of it is, if everything is meeting, like, one thing that meets demand makes it easier for other things to meet demand, so that's part of it. But, I don't know to what extent my claim of being able to reduce footprint size is accurate. Things might still be massive once everything is all said and done. That's one thing to mention as well. I will probably need to build my lines in a way that I am building fuel-producing things first, i.e. butter and sandwiches. Sandwiches use some fuel, but they have a fuel surplus because of the cheese in them. The reason for that is that I would want to use the fertilizer as fuel for the for fuel in my meat facility, as it requires, I believe, 4 additional fuel than it produces, but I deleted the kitchen so I can't see. And that might be a good opportunity to use the packager, because then I can package it, either put it on a conveyor belt, which I guess would be the whole point of packaging it first, or throw it into a rail cart and then deliver it to a different unpackager and feed it into my kitchens. So there's a lot of little silos and stuff to delete on all this stuff, unfortunately. I don't believe there's a faster way to delete any of the actual buildings than it is to just simply click on them and then press the delete key. Okay. Obviously, I'll probably be a little bit easier after I start to delete things to delete the rest of the things. Goodbye, old memories, but also just this farm was an eyesore that worked very poorly, so I'm not too heartbroken about getting rid of the sandwich farm. The other ones maybe didn't deserve it as much. I could have just scaled them up, but that sandwich farm needed to go. So now we begin the process of deleting. The apparently slow process of deleting. There were still some cloth conveyor belts in this system. What? What? That's ridiculous. I guess those I think would likely be some limiting factors to my overall speed of my system, all things considered. If there was a way that I could like just select a region and say get rid of this. So I have to delete everything above my farms, and then I have to remove the resources from the farms, and then I have to delete the farms. It's not a fast process, but it's a necessary one when you don't design your... And to be fair, I didn't know what I was doing very much, so I'm not gonna take all the blame for building a bad system, but we can definitely do better, and we need to do better in order to satisfy the needs of 100 hungry households. And once we have consistent happiness from all food sources, it'll make meeting happiness from the other facilities that much easier, because they'll all get production boosts. Uh-oh. Oh, it's just the autosave. I'm like, my game is frozen! What happened? Oh. Nothing to worry about. So if I do unpause the game for any period of time, we will see a pretty heavy happiness hit, which will be a little annoying, but shouldn't end up mattering. I want to design all of these systems around the idea that they're meeting maximum consumption rate at 1600% productivity. So they'll kind of accelerate up to that point as we start to meet that demand again, but also there are still some categories that I don't have any lines for. I think at this point it's just gourmet, but I don't have consistent lines for anything. And obviously some of them don't even meet the rules, like I'm selling antidotes, which don't meet my rule of highest tier item, and they're from the potions category, but they're only like a mid-tier item. But they're worth blue coins, and I needed blue coins, so I did what I needed to do and I built a line that broke the rules. Right now, we won't really be impacted too much by the economy facet of this. It was producing red coins, but a pretty small amount compared to the other lines. And also, it doesn't require any currency to run, so we don't have to worry about that either. It will be producing... I guess we do kind of have to worry about red coins from the meat stew. That was a pretty big one, a pretty big producer, but we will end up producing more gold coins than we had before. And I have enough red coins that I can go for a while without running the risk of going bankrupt. So, getting close to having removed all of the basic infrastructure, and then we'll be able to clear out the farms themselves. I think I will build my butter line first, just because it produces a constant stream of fertilizer. Which will, as a result, and I guess it is worth red coins, so that'll keep that consistent. But that means I'll be able to kind of lay out my fertilizer infrastructure more easily, because I'll have one of my bigger producers of it as one of my first things that I have to worry about. Okay, so that's all deleted. Now I gotta delete these farms. And I want to actually do what I did with these farms and put little lakes underneath them all. You can see that I did not do that with the sandwich farm. Okay, now get rid of all this. Goodbye, wheat. Did me proud, but it's time to go. So if we're working under the presumption that the 3 100% food items take 12 seconds to consume, and that butter takes 9 seconds to consume, then in order to meet demand, I need to produce 100 items of each type within, I think, 36 plus 9, 45 seconds. So that's a little over 2 items per second to meet demand, so I have to take that into consideration when making things. Due to how quickly things get sped up, some of that stuff literally might just be one thing. You just gotta make sure it outputs fast enough. But I will need to kind of check myself. Oh, I'm deleting things I don't want to. I'll have to check myself a little bit because my butter farm had 2 kitchens outputting, but it still wasn't meeting demand. So like, even though one item, I need to double check my math before going all in on an assembly line, or else we'll just have a bad time. I mean, at this point I know it needs to be bigger than it was, but until we get all lines rebuilt, they're not going to meet demand anyway, because they would need to be going 4 times as quickly to fulfill all of the demand. But we'd be splitting it up between 4 different lines, which will make it easier to meet demand on each element later down the line. Okay, now I can finally delete all of the farm tiles. It's gonna be nice to have a big open space to work with, though, will admit that much. Okay. Might even fill in the river so it doesn't cut through and impact where I can lay things out. So whatever I do for my fertilizer infrastructure, I will probably do it on the 3rd layer of buildings, because first layer is going to be the growth layer, aka the ground. Next layer will be initial processing, so I'm going to put my grain mills on there, and then my pastures will be on the 3rd level, so I'll need to kind of keep that in mind when planning how to deliver it and where to put buildings that require fuel. So, and I'll keep deleting. Honestly, there's no reason not to clear up some of these depleted nodes, and even this, just a lot of this resources I don't need, so I might as well delete it all, flatten the ground, make sure it's nice and easy to work with, and go buck wild. Goodbye, rocks. You didn't do anything. You don't deserve this. I'm sorry, but everything in the name of expansion, right? Take no prisoners, give no quarter, etc., etc. Okay. So pretty, I feel bad deleting them. Okay, I just made a realization, so way back when I first needed gold, right when I was starting to make jewelry, I'm like, where's gold on my map? There's gold right here. I'm pretty sure like this was my original tile edge, and then I bought this land section. It was right here and I couldn't find it. It's pretty something. Okay. Almost there. The fun part's gonna be we'll get to replace all these tiles. And I was gonna say hopefully I have enough fertilizer. I mean, I have a system that's currently dormant because I'm not using mana pipes, so it's not using any of the fertilizer as fuel, but I have, this system over here that is 20 barns filled with fertilizer, so I think we've got enough. Okay, flatten out the ground. Get rid of the little ponds so I can place new ponds later. And I guess clear this river. I know this is going to cost some gold, so I do have to be a little careful, but I don't foresee myself using all of my gold. Flatten this out. Carve a little ways away at that. Okay, look at this. Beautiful, just massive flat land to work with. Now there's no excuse to build a terrible line. But that doesn't mean it's gonna stop me. So, I also want to take into consideration how I want to go about delivering resources to the food market. There are a couple of approaches. I could build 2 food markets stacked on top of each other and then to deliver 2 items to each, which is probably the easiest course of action. So what I'm going to do is delete the one food market, probably build it above this line, which I'll need to delete later, and then build the second food market on the next layer above that. And that will make it so I've got plenty of space to get in, and also that these aren't like right on the bottom layer, so I don't have to kind of work down to them, since a lot of my final production will be up higher in the air anyway. So buildings, food market. 1 food market, 2 food market. Okay. Perfect. Can even rotate them so they've got, like, you can see different parts of it. How cute. Okay, so first and foremost, the butter. We'll kind of want to work backwards. So let's place a kitchen and figure out how long it takes to make butter. Takes 5 seconds. Let me get a calculator because I'm going to need to do some math. So 5 divided by 16 is 0.3152. So that's how long it takes to produce one. If we take the reciprocal of this, which I don't know how to do on this calculator, so I'm just going to do 1 divided by 0.3125, then a single kitchen can produce 3.2 items per second if it is fully stocked. If everything from the beginning of the assembly line to the end of the assembly line is running consistently and constantly has input, 1 kitchen should be enough to meet demand at 1600%, which is technically only 5 or 1500 happiness. but I want a little bit of wiggle room, and I don't want to have to divide by 17 because 17 is a prime number, and holy shit, I'm not interested in doing that. If I did my math right, let me double check because I don't want to have to do this again. I think the number of butter per second that a single kitchen can produce is accurate. I just need to make sure that one item every 100 items divided by 45 is what I think it is. So yes, one kitchen can meet demand if we do it right. So, what does that mean? That means that I guess I should leave buildings down for now so I can reference them. I need 2 milk in 5 seconds worth of time. So how do I do that? How many pastures do I need to do that? According to this, I will only need 1 pasture, but it will need a lot of water and it will need a lot of grain. That means I need grain. And this is running in 2 seconds. We can be a little slower and get it at 2.5 seconds. But we can't really go any slower than that because it does need to complete 2 operations in the amount of time the kitchen takes. So let me look at a grain mill. How long does a grain mill take? A grain mill only takes 2 seconds to make animal feed, but it requires 2 grain, which I believe a regular barn takes 3 seconds to make that much. Or farm, not barn, sorry. Yes, 1.5 seconds, and we'll be slowed down a little bit because I am going to need these producing water. So, 3 seconds, if I make 2 farms, then that should be enough to fulfill this with enough grain, to fulfill this with enough feed, to fulfill this with enough milk, to meet my demand. So I want 3 farms. They gotta have resources flowing out of them. So we can build this pretty close to here. Can I actually even build more of these if I wanted to? I could, I guess. It's like I'm debating if I just put 1 on the ground because this assembly line is going to be so much simpler than I thought it was going to be. I think the answer is yes. Well, no. And now I just deleted that scaffold for no reason. 2, 3, 4. Get level with the houses. So I think that's it. We'll put stone in the middle. Yep. Gotta make it look pretty. Alright, so need 3 farms. These farms will need water. And they will need enough space to work. So let me place farm tiles first. Because of this setup, it's kind of blocking things a little bit. 2, 3, and then I know farm can reach 4 tiles. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, perfect. So my farms will go in this little spot in the middle. And plant grain around them. Yeah, I'm worried about fertilizer. I just look in the corner down there. You have 5.7 thousand available to use. Okay, I think I'm good. Oh, I need to, before I move that, I need to build my little lake. It's gonna be kind of difficult because these are gonna be in a line, whereas the other ones I had the corners to work with. I need lower terrain. 1 here and 1 here. And then I have to actually do this in a way that doesn't yell at me. Raising blocks back up, but only the right ones, so otherwise it won't work. I think that's correct? No. Can't build on uneven terrain. How about now? Okay, that'll work. Perfect. throw down some wheat, which I may have to unpause the game to do because I don't have a lot in storage. Compatible target, what are you talking about? It's a farm tile. What? Excuse me? Plant grain. Farm tile. Incompatible target. What? Am I losing my fucking mind? Yeah, I guess I'll have it water shit. Do I have to like reboot the game or something? Is it just freaking out? What is happening? Plant grain. Incompatible target. Am I missing something? Like, am I an idiot? What's happening? I guess I'm gonna save and reboot the game. Like, I don't know what that is or what's happening. Exit to desktop. I guess I'll save again. Okay, give me a sec and I'll get the game rebooted. Alright. And now we must wait patiently. Alright. Continue. It's gonna take a while to load, but I wonder if it'll take less time now that I've deleted all of those assembly lines. See, it doesn't really seem like it's having. Oh, it was a little bit faster. Okay. For the love of God, please let me plant grain. Okay, I can plant grain now. The game was just not happy with my decision making, I guess. So, I don't have a lot built up in storage, but I can basically refill it at a slight rate slower than I place it. And it's all gonna start growing and it's gonna be beautiful. There, look at that, the beautiful spiral of grain. But I'm out of grain, presumably because the farm whose responsibility it is to fill them is full. I should probably set stuff up in this system to help prevent that in the future. So how do I plan on feeding out of these? I guess I can build 2 barns to the side, and then that'll still leave the front and back, which are the sides I'm planning on using. I haven't figured that out quite yet, but it'll leave those available for extraction. Is it restocked? Is my barn good to go yet? Is there anything in here? There's one. I should just honestly give this... Well, no, I can't. It's like I should give this some more work to work with, but I can't because it needs grain. Okay, I should at least build one of the barns on one side. Okay. This is kind of a dangerous game because it could create hiccups in the system when I go to place grain, but it shouldn't matter too much. Alright, get some grabbers. Alright, now we've got space to work with. And now I can repeat on the side, except it's going to be harder to get scaffold there. No, it isn't. I'm just stupid. What did I do? It's not what I wanted to do. There we go. So throw it on a second barn, and now we've got some more buffer to work with, which is always important. Now it's time to actually build the grain mill, or build the input location for it, I guess. Yes. So, how do I deliver all of these resources? I'll start by going up, I guess. That's level 2, so that's level 3. Probably take... Honestly, there's a non-zero chance that I might need to use all available sites. Pulling grain out of this to meet demand. Because I know that silos are notorious for being useful, but also notorious for limiting throughput by how quickly they can import and export items. So I'll start with a setup of 3 for each, but I'll want to watch it. And honestly, it might be worth just building... I have not built one of these in the game yet, but it might be worth building a void obelisk, throwing it down and just destroying all of my grain as it comes out of my mill, just to see if the system works. I guess, to be fair, I am putting more wheat into the system than I need, so it might not end up mattering, but I guess find out. Okay, throw down that, throw down this, and it's going to be pretty extensive to get all this in here. Interesting, so moving buildings does not automatically place scaffolding, which is why the one barn was giving me complaints earlier. Whereas obviously placing buildings will automatically place scaffolding for you. I think it's an option you can toggle, but I do have it toggled, so. Throw this here and build a shit ton of conveyors. Honestly. Is there a fun and cheeky way to use a minecart to do this? The answer is probably yes, but it's not worth figuring it out, so... Let's just build the conveyors that we know will work. Or we think will work. Okay, now we need some grabbers. Oh, that's just a beautiful wave. Set to animal feed. Oh, baby. Okay, so obviously it filled very, very quickly. In order to even potentially consider using this, I'm going to need 3 outputs from here as well. Are we able to consistently produce grain? Yes. Let's let this run for a little while, because there is a potential that these farms will chew through all of their possible wheat. Which the only real solution to that would be expanding the whole system, which I don't really want to do, but it seems like it's consistently able to maintain, it's self-sufficient, or at least it appears to be, so that's good to know. I can delete this nonsense, and we can build the pasture. Now the pasture is going to be a little bit difficult because it's going to need so much water. Building, obviously I could build it, I have never built a water shrine, but it might be time to look into it. What's a water shrine do? Takes 2 energy in 1 second to produce 1 bucket of water. Holy shit, that's terrible. Oh, I guess it's impacted by speed, which, words are hard. Wells are not impacted by that. That being said, I'm pretty sure I can still build a well setup that meets my needs. So I'm gonna do that. For larger setups, it might be worth building kind of like a water tower type thing, where I channel it all into like a series of barns and then use a cycling minecart system, because that will have a higher throughput, but we'll see if it's necessary. I'm thinking of like my meat factories, it might be. Okay, so this is just gonna flow out of here, which is good. We'll go up to the next level where we'll put the barn, or pasture. I don't know why I can't get words right. Okay. Pasture, what is it? Right here. Okay, so now this is what we need to consider. Milk takes 2 water. Didn't give it the right ground. The cow's feet are gonna fall through. Cannot have cow's feet falling through the ground. It is unacceptable. Cows need solid ground to stand on. Okay. That's not the right building. Back down there. Okay. So now it's got, or it will have grain once I build grabbers. So it needs 2 water and 2 seconds worth of time. But not really 2 seconds worth of time. A single well will produce 1 water every, I think it's half a second. So I can produce per second 2 water times 6, up to 12 water per second. Is that enough to meet my need? So a single unit of milk requires 4 water. Okay, yes, that should be enough. Because 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 is more than 2.222222222, which is the number of butters per second that I need to make. So let me throw down 6 wells and feed them all into the pasture. One thing to consider is going to be how the hell I plan on getting fertilizer out of here and what I plan on doing with the fertilizer. So this setup, or this is going to kind of determine my fertilizer setup, at least in the wrong direction. Okay, so this is just going to output like crazy until it fills up instantaneously. I think so. I could probably have the milk go straight forward into a kitchen, because then we'll basically, I mean, we're like stuck in between levels, which is amazing, but we can do that. So with 3 channels in out of this, we should be able to meet that demand. I guess I'll build on level with this building because it should still work for my kitchen. If I need to build multiple layers, I still can. It's not like I'm limited by that. I could effectively double the amount of space that the butter has to work with, but okay. So pause it real quick, place down some conveyors, and feed it into the building. Take the grabbers. Interesting. So this is going to require something that I haven't had to do before, and I'm actually gonna have to block item. Because normally I can just rotate my building to face the direction that I don't want it to face, but there's no way to do that right now. I'm using every side of the building, so if I can use a filter, there we go, and then filter so only milk can leave. So then when I unpause the game, it's still going to pull fertilizer because these are not set to milk, but when I set them to milk, then theoretically no fertilizer should ever leave this building. That appears to be the case. This kitchen is not producing enough butter. Or milk, it's producing more milk. Oh, of course, that's because this is always going to outpace the kitchen because it has the potential to produce it at 20 or 80% the time. But so it's going to keep outputting butter. And we'll want to keep an eye on it because I've suffered a substantial happiness downgrade by deleting all of my assembly lines. Yeah. double check to make sure I'm not an idiot and verify indeed that I need to rotate this filter. No, its picture is facing the wrong direction. Please, game, let me rotate it. It won't let me rotate it. I need to verify beyond the shadow of a doubt that this assembly line will be sufficient so that I don't have to worry about scaling it up. Look at how small that footprint is. Granted, it's the easiest of all of our items, but still. So I messed this up. I gotta put the accents in the middle. Okay. There, now we have a nice supported bridge. I guess I'll actually connect these on the back end as well. So it's almost like we have a real structure. Almost. So calculator, again, 100 items in 45 seconds is 2.2 repeating items per second. 5 divided by 16, that number. 1 divided by 5 divided by 16 is 3.2. So theoretically, once I have built all of my lines and everyone is happy, this should work. I'm not meeting demand. This is going as fast as it can. What's the issue? Let me think. Is it just that? It's outputting. Mathematically, there's no reason for this. I think these are slowly dropping even, which means it's pulling more from the system than it's pushing in. So, but yet somehow the pasture is outpacing the grain mill. That's brilliant. Cool. Guess I can kind of use some Omni Stones to upgrade it a little bit and eke out an edge over the pasture to hopefully make demand more, or make it a little more consistent. Because yeah, the grain mill always has input. That's a non-issue. I wonder if it's mathematically speaking, if we're hitting a point where the game can't calculate it well enough. Because it's going fucking nuts. Like, look at that. Just pump it full of Omni Stones. Yeah, whatever. I have 3 other assembly lines to build, and then I can know whether or not I have done a shitty job. So, next one. Oh wait, no, I forgot. I need to actually do something with my fertilizer. Let's build a packager for the first time in my life that will actually do something instead of building it and then immediately deleting it. We are going to package our poop. So, this packager's job will be to package it and then put it into a barn, and then we will have minecarts eventually come and grab it, and they will bring it to the fertilizer processing plant. So, buildings, barn, no, not barn, buildings, packager. Set 2 pack items in a crate. Pause the game, get some grabbers. Filter them all to be fertilizer. And now we will be producing crates of fertilizer. Like no one's business. Perfect. Okay. That is good. Now I need barns. Question is, do I make a bunch of barns? Do I just do it like this? Sure, let's make a couple of barns, and then it will split between them all. 1, 2, 3. illustrious magical conveyor. And last but not least, a splitter. So it'll fill up these barns with boxes of poop. And then eventually we'll do something with those boxes of poop. But we'll be able to move them in large capacity because they will be packaged, so one minecart will theoretically be able to carry within its... Oh, I love them! The little boxes on the assembly line, they're so good! They're just the crate model, but really small. That's adorable. So minecarts will be able to carry 80 poop in them at once, which is pretty good. Packed fertilizer, indeed. Okay. Hopefully I don't need to deal with this later, but if I have to, I have to. The packager should be able to package things without ever getting full. Like, there's no way on God's green earth that the packager will ever not be able to output correctly until these barns are full. So this will be able to go for a while. Next line should probably be the sandwich line, because it also produces fertilizer but doesn't utilize as much fuel. I guess, let me look at a kitchen, because I don't know how vegetable soup is made. Vegetable soup requires fuel, so this will definitely be one of the draws from the poop processing plant. Okay, so the sandwich has a lot of steps to it, all of which require a lot of grain, so I'm going to want to really think about this step by step before I start building. Sandwich is back at the top, I believe. Bread is. So bread requires fuel and flour. It's one thing to consider. But it can be produced every 4 seconds. We already know that 5 seconds is fast enough, as long as it has high enough throughput. So the only thing that we would need to scale up, everything else, every other step in the sandwich making process takes 5 seconds or less, except for cheese, which requires 10 seconds. So we'll have to have 2 kitchens producing cheese, and otherwise everything else should be good. I know chicken takes 5 seconds to grow and also to cook. Then there's the cheese, and the bread takes 4 seconds to cook. So, let me think. We're gonna kind of want to work backwards. How much grain am I gonna need for all of this? That's gonna be 6. 6 within 5 seconds. How much? So 5 seconds is enough for a single one to produce 3, so it would take 2 farms to produce the flour for the bread alone. I guess let me kind of keep track of this. Using the handy dandy power of Excel. Blank workbook. So, wheat. Wheat does not have 2 E's in it. Wheat required. Bread requires 6. And then, let's see, farms. Here I can put like a little screen region up, and then you can watch me do Excel. How exciting. Editor. Add scene. Window capture. Excel, because why not? Add new source. Fucking beautiful. Absolutely amazing. Wow, it's like not working at all even. That's really cool. I like that. Oh, I can make it bigger and then it breaks even more. Nothing I'm doing is showing up on here. Okay, never mind. It's not a thing. I'd have to mess with it more. But, that's not a to now thing. So farms equals I can't think of how to do this math real quickly. So a number equals the amount of wheat divided by why can I do this like so easy mentally, but now that I have to articulate it in a formula form, I can't extrapolate it out in my head. Okay. Whatever. Okay, next thing in the sandwich. Cook chicken. Cook chicken requires a pasture. How much feed does a pasture need? To produce raw chicken, it takes 2 feed in 5 seconds. So, chicken equals 4 wheat. Oh duh, all I have to do is see 2 farms, I think 4 wheat. It's gonna take 2 farms for that as well because I can only get 3 wheat out of it in the amount of time I need. So 2 more farms. And last but not least, cheese. Cheese is gonna take a lot. So I need 2 kitchens running at full force, all pistons firing. So that means I'll need 6 milk. Oh, but wait, the milk is going to be produced at a much higher rate than the kitchens can use it. So let me think. 1 unit of cheese requires 3 milk, and that milk has to be distributed between 2 things. I think I'll need 2 pastures for that because otherwise I'm running it at 6 seconds to output all of that, and I'm trying to get it all in the 5-second time frame. They don't have to be fully stocked pastures or like full efficiency pastures, but I think I do need 2 of them. Also over these silos to make sure that they're doing their jobs correctly. Yes, they are. Okay. Well, as much as they can, given the circumstances. Alright. So I need I need 6 feed in 5 seconds, but I'm using it 6 feed in 5 seconds. So that's 12. And this system does 12, doesn't it? No. I would need 4 farms for that. So overall, I need 22 wheat to produce it in the time frame I want, which I can produce with 8 farms, which is much smaller than it was the first time around. Okay. Minimize that. So let me think, what part of the line do I need to start with? I think this time around I'm going to use cotton to produce the cloth because otherwise it increases my wheat need further, and I can probably get away with not doing that. Or I would prefer to get away with not doing that. So I can kind of compartmentalize things because I know how many farms I need for each. So let me pause it so I can work a little more easily. I want to work this way, start from the right and then move to the left. Also, I probably want my bread and my chicken. Yes, so my bread and my chicken need to come first, and then my cheese assembly line can come last because then its fertilizer can move downstream before it actually enters like the system where it'll collect it. I'm trying to think though. I need No, the chicken produces its own fuel, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I only need 2 fuel for the sandwich, but I'll be producing 3 fuel with the cheese, so I'll still have 1 excess fertilizer that I can store, I guess. In that case, then let me lay down the farm tiles. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I kind of want to do them in sets of 2. But vertically, which is unfortunate because it means it'll be slightly asymmetrical compared to this setup. Let's see. I guess I'll encourage it forward. So 1 farm, 2 farms. This is my bounding box. I could just plant something there, but I guess it would never be watered, so you'd know that it was just there for aesthetics, and I can't take that. Okay. So that's the bread space. This is the chicken space, and a big cluster of 4 farms for the milk space. Beautiful. I'll definitely need to unpause the game while assembling this because I will, beyond the shadow of a doubt, utilize my stockpiles of wheat planting all of this. Before I plant the wheat, I should get my farms down and have them start watering, so I'll need to build my watering holes. It's important to make sure that there's enough farm tiles for everything, even though it does increase the overall footprint. I can't risk running out of resources mid-production. It'd be catastrophic. So, let me see, tools, terrain block down, not flatten down, I need block down. Do this, and then come back and block up to get everything the way it needs to be. Can't do it on this though because it's rain into the farm tiles, but I don't think I'll need to. Buildings, farm. Okay, so all of these will be for wheat, and then I'll probably just build a single farm right here on the end for the cotton, so that should be good enough. So let me get all these set up with their grain and water. Hello, Intro Play Games. This game is Factory Town. It is an assembly line simulator, so to speak. It's all about making your town, building a big town and making it happy. I guess you don't really build the town as much as you just place the houses, but it's about building assembly lines to produce products and then delivering those to your town, and then they'll consume them. They'll become happier as a result, they'll give you currency, and then you can build bigger and better things as well as a result. So right now, I'm in the process of rebuilding a lot of my early game assembly lines that just aren't cutting it anymore. It's all the grain. Nice spiral fashion. Yeah, basically. There's no real win condition, there's no real lose condition, it's just a sandbox. I've set arbitrary rule set on myself where I can only, with my final assembly lines that I build to my town, I'm trying to get the perfect score of 1600 happiness, because there are 16 different categories of items to satisfy. But I've set an arbitrary rule where I can only sell items that are worth the maximum level of satisfaction with my final line. So as I delete them, some of my lines I'll have to build different types of items than I used to have for them. Let's see, this needs to be a flour mill. Is at the level? No, that's too low to the ground. Can't build over it, so... need to build silos on the front of both of these. I guess I could do it on the sides. That'd probably be a much better use of space, because that space is not otherwise not going to be used for much. And also lets me build just a nice flat platform that'll look nice and satisfying once it's got stuff on it. Alright. Okay, delete the scrap. Throw down a bunch of silos. Make sure they're facing away from their input so that I don't jam up the lines. And now I can place the thing. Nearly at a steady, okay. Well, it was a little, it wasn't steady earlier universe, but I did have it up to like 1300 with peaks of 1400, but I deleted my food lines, so they're not. My townsfolk aren't happy. You know, you were talking about a revolution gonna start the other day. I've definitely encouraged that revolution. Okay. Where did I build that scaffold? Built it where I planned on it, I guess. I'm liking this setup a lot more than I had liked my previous setups. Realized though, even though yes, making a sandwich facility. Or rebuilding the sandwich facility, so now my footprint will be this instead of the sprawling monstrosity that took up this entire area before. Trying to remember how many grain mills I need. I know I don't need a 1-to-1 ratio. Well, I think I might for the flour. I mean, I guess there's no real harm in building more of them, but it does utilize unnecessarily so workforce that I would like to try to keep lower. Okay. So that's the flour. Trying to think. I guess I do need 2 of them for the milk. Probably not for the chicken. Because let's see. I only need 2 animals. Yeah, I only need 1 grain mill for the chicken. Okay. Set all these to be animal feed. My game is not. There we go. It's not letting me turn. Okay, this is something I hadn't considered. And that's going to be getting everything into its location. So maybe I should center this building. Let me think. That's still going to make it difficult to get this last silo in. But what I can do, actually, move this here, connect 3 of the silos up on either side, and then use a barn to channel everything else using 6 conveyors. I feel like I'm doing something terribly wrong, like, I mean, I guess... Oh, it's just because I unnecessarily... I put way more... Okay, that's why I'm having so many issues. I put way more silos on these than I needed to, so they have twice as much output connected to it than they actually need. Because I was thinking about this one, but then I'm like, oh, all of these need this many silos. That's not true. So let me delete some of the extra silos on the edges. I'll keep the ones that are connected to each other because that uses space the most efficiently. And now everything will connect in a way that's simple and makes sense. Okay. Clear out this side. Now I can actually build conveyors that all reach. I have to say, there is a level of enjoyment that I am getting from having these solid lines of conveyor belts that I wasn't getting with my tangled messes of just terrible contraptions. What's going on here? This is not selected to pick grain. That's what's going on. Okay. Got that part. Now I need to build a little tiny farm to make the cloth. Is it farming, mining, tile? I will. Go. I don't think it needs this much. I know. Can make this a lot smaller. Not really have to worry about it because it's not going to require nearly as much cotton as it requires the other resources. Here you can do just a ring of 3 instead of a ring of 4, I guess. Still probably excessive, but it looks a little nicer that way. Alright, plant the cotton. Well, no. Place the farm first and tell it to start watering. Oh, actually, this one's going to be a little tougher to lay out. Well, it helps if you use the correct tool as well. So I know I can't have the dead center water. So I do kind of have to, like... Okay, so that'd be the center. think that's gonna work. No. Will work right there. I don't think I can make a lake small enough. So I guess I'll do that and just build strangely around it. There, so natural. Apply water, collect cotton. Building. Farming / mining. Base cotton. I'm gonna think of where my buffer is for cotton and if it's going to refill at a reasonable rate or not. The answer is probably no, but it's small enough so it doesn't matter. Then need to pull cotton out the back. Okay, and build the workshop above it to turn it into cloth. And then we will have that facet or ingredient to make cheese. We have our cheesecloth. Okay, buildings, workshop. And set to be cloth using cotton. So that'll produce enough and get that taken care of pretty quickly. Now let's go up and make the pastures. So I needed 2 pastures per kitchen to produce enough milk in the time frame I needed. Honestly, is there a way that I can do this? Yes, I could just kind of daisy chain it back and forth right here. And then I can save some space. Or save some height, I guess, mostly. So I actually need this to go a little bit higher. Alright, so I can build the pastures right here. I almost made the wrong thing, and of course I deleted all of my scaffolding when I did that. That's fine. Cows need a place to stand. How many times do I have to build a pasture to remember that cows need a place to stand? Okay, so that's there. Whoops. Grab the pasture. And watering them is going to be the tough part. Okay, so they're gonna have plenty of food. I need to get water into the building, and I need to get fertilizer out of the building. I guess I don't have to have these completely fulfilled, I just need to produce enough water. I think I'm gonna have to get clever with my water design on this. So, on the back side of the building right here, I'm going to build a water production facility. Going to produce a bunch of water in a short frame of time. Probably more than I'll need, but I could use it for the chickens as well, since they are also thirsty. So, what am I going to do? I am going to place a barn. 2 barns to be precise. You know what? I'm going to put them on stone. Not because they need a place to stand, because they're barns. I just want to place them on stone. There, I'll just place the little bit. This is not the size I wanted to make it. This is slightly larger than it needs to be. I guess there's an added benefit though that the larger I make it, the more water I can get. See if 6 is good enough. 6 on both sides, I should say, so 12 water. How much did I put on this? I put 6 water on that. But this will be producing, this only needs to produce milk at a slightly slower rate, and that setup up there is already using all of its water, so it's probably good. This way I don't have to deal with trying to get a water shrine set up. I feel like, functionally speaking, you're not going to save yourself a lot of space overall trying to use the water shrine. Something I do have to consider is that wells have a higher hitbox than every other building in the game for whatever reason. Okay, so these barns will fill up with water very quickly. And now I can build a little minecart track. Minecart track will just swing past and then build it. I'll get it prepared as if it will have a little loop because it'll probably end up having to go next door to the chickens anyway. In fact, let me just rebuild this so with that in mind. And just build my chicken pasture while I'm at it. If I have to actually have space for it. You know what? We can do this with a comical conveyor belt system, so I'm going to. Because even though if I just moved it one block back, it would have plenty of space that I could work with. I can build just an array of conveyor belts that spiral around this if I do it differently. And so I will, because why not do it the stupid but funny way? I have essentially unlimited access to resources, so it should be okay. Beautiful. Set this to be raw chicken. Okay, so now we need minecarts. Helps if I design my track in a way that I can utilize both barns. Because if I don't do that, it doesn't do me a lot of good, now does it? So I do kind of have to go all the way around then, because I can't go over the well, or the wells are in the way. Guess I could raise it a level, but this allows me to have more carts on it because, interestingly enough, the overall efficiency of a minecart system is dependent on the length of the trail substantially. A long trail has a very low initial efficiency, but it can hold more carts, which makes the gaps a lower percentage of the overall system. Meaning that if you fill a long cart with just a shit ton of minecarts, it will go faster in the end, but that's beside the point. Alright, let me place all of these while I am in a position to do so. And they're nice, beautiful gold. Okay, get another rail stop connected to this one, and then get my two, whoops. Ooh, we're running into some interesting issues in that it, oh wait. No, we aren't. I can just click on it and tell it to be an output. And then rotate it. There we go. Okay. Now we should be actually working. So let me pause the game so I can get a nice train of minecarts going. Actually, I don't even really want a train. It kind of needs to be evenly spaced so that they have consistent water, because I don't have these, they don't have like a feed to trickle the water in. You know, I didn't give them like a hamster bottle or something. Honestly, I could do that. And it wouldn't be that hard either. I guess the hard part would be routing it out of the system once I've done that. Well, no, because I could put one water bottle here, and then the 2 water bottles there, and then it just goes like weep. Sure, let's do that for the safety of my animals and the ease and improving the ease of my design. Okay. Voila, with this setup now, my little animals can have plenty of water stored up for safekeeping. And it shouldn't impede my design. Shouldn't run into issues at all from this. Famous last words, but you know. Okay, now I can place some mine carts, but I can place like a train of them. There's an excessive amount of them. Sounds like fun to me. Tell them all to go forward. Okay. Holy shit, they go so fast on the magic rails. They'll get filled up with water, and then they deliver it all. And these are already basically full. Well, no, except for this one. Now it is. The silo cannot output it as quickly as it consumes it. I guess it might not be an issue. This is going at a higher rate than I need it to be. Alright, so. Cheese. Cheese grommet, cheese. I need 2 kitchens making it. So I'll feed each one of these into its own kitchen. That will produce enough cheese in a short enough period of time to meet my demand. Here's a kitchen I can click on. Here's one. That's butter. I want cheese. There we go. Okay. This'll, well, it'll fill up quickly, but it won't actually make anything quickly. It's because I need to get cloth into it. I can do this with a simple conveyor. Yeah, if only they had loops in this game. Dude, Roller Coaster Tycoon, for real though, one of my favorite games of all time. It's not my #1 favorite, because that spot belongs to Kirby Air Ride, or Kirby's Air Ride, but it's up there. It's up there. Okay. And there's the cloth. So now these will start making cheese at a pretty high rate. Why is this not outputting or getting cloth? Do I have to like wait for this to back up and then the other line will get it? Yeah, okay. So that's the issue. So this line kind of needs to back up first and come to the official conclusion. Now that it's backed up, it shouldn't be an issue. No, it is an issue. This is not producing enough. This is producing 1 cloth every 8 seconds. I need it to produce cloth every 5 seconds. Oh wait, no, it's just because it's split between 2 buildings, duh. Never mind. Okay, so I have things that can produce fertilizer. Let me build the kitchen for this because this is a closed system. Then I have to actually move the fertilizer from these buildings. So that I can use it in other places. So, I need to go up again. I could go directly above No, I can't. I have to do the dumb thing again. I don't know. You know what? Let's just build it over top of this. Instead of, you know, I wanted to be silly about it before. I don't want to this time. I'm done with being silly. It's no more fun in games. It's a no fun zone. Okay, kitchen. In fact, it might not even be. This might not even be good enough. I might need to get more. Well, I guess I can do another line out the back to make sure my resources are all making it in. So I only have 2 lines for each with this setup. Instead of 3, but I think that'll be fine. And if it isn't, then my whole system will fall apart. But that's okay, because I can solve that problem if it comes up. Okay, raw chicken, there it is. Okay, so this produces everything it needs to create its own stuff, so it'll produce chicken and output chicken accordingly. Next, it'll build the kitchen above the grain mills for flour, but it will need, or it's not flour, for bread, it will need manure piped in from somewhere, specifically my cheese producing cows. So let me go ahead and build the kitchen above this. I'm trying to think how I need to do this. So I want to say this is sufficient, and I can just pipe up the side and feed into the front as well with this one. Okay. Now, helps if you actually build the kitchen that you need to input into. Where is it? Up at the top, bread. Okay. So let me stick these kitchens into each other so they don't output where I don't want them to. How's my gold coins are dropping very quickly because I've cut my primary source of them. So I have to be wary of that and actually get this stuff up and running, not without dilly-dallying too much. My other systems, my red coins are dropping as well, but not nearly as quickly because there isn't as much demand for them. I guess, I'm pretty sure the biggest drain on my coins is this, because it needs so much, no, this doesn't actually require as much recharging as I thought. I've got other systems that need a lot of recharging, and that's probably where all my gold coins are going. Okay, so this has just an unlimited source of flour. Now, to get the manure out of the pastures. I'll take it from the front and the back, and probably consolidate it into a single location, i.e. a barn. And with a single barn, honestly I might want to use a packager there and then use an unpackager, or unpack it at the kitchen, but then send the packed goods to these barns that are full at this point. But yeah, that way I'll still be able to hold on to it. I guess it can have its own special 4th barn for its own input. It's part of the fertilizer processing facility. Okay. Silos. Oh, I've made a terrible mistake. I need to filter these, or else bad things happen. So these have milk in them, but they're not supposed to have into them, so I should probably clear them. Okay, so this will bring it up to the next level where I can consolidate it into a barn. I have to say, I don't know what it was. Something about this has just clicked, because like even if I look at stuff that I made like literally yesterday, or even today, like, this is a fucking nightmare. Like, what was I doing with this? But like, this is just working, and it's nice and compact and isn't a tangled mess. I mean, it kind of is. It's not tangled. It's a mess, but it's not tangled. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it just suddenly worked. Okay, so I don't think I can go over these kitchens. Probably not. Memory? I guess so. Okay, so this will be my packager. So packager number 1, pack into crate. I guess you're right, I already know what I need with these assembly lines. I'm not like having to think about it or anything. It's just like, I need this, so I'll build it. I could actually do it like this and kind of save a little bit of space off the back. I think I just deleted something I didn't mean to, but wait, no, I need the full force so I can connect it up with as much crap as possible. This will unpack items so that I have a fresh source of fertilizer, but then items that are not needed here can continue on to storage. This on level? No, this is... Oh, it is actually. That's nice. Okay, so probably need at least 2 lines, I would think. Yeah, 6 divided by 4 is 1.5. And obviously I can't build half of an assembly line, but it means I'll need 2 lines. One of these lines needs to go up. Don't want to do it like that because, well, no, I still can. I just have to do I have to rotate it further down. Okay, so let me build the first line, or first layer. I should probably actually make it interact with the building if I want to use it. Here, this is what I can do. I'll use a pusher to force it into the building, and then if it doesn't need to go there, then it will just continue. Okay. I believe this is a reliable enough source that I don't have to worry as much about it. do a little 3-5 dance. That's, sorry, not 3-5, the 3-6 dance. And repeat the line. Okay, I believe this will get me everything I need, and now I just need to turn it into a sandwich. Suppose I should unpause to make sure that the packaging setup is working correctly. So let's watch this, see what happens. And there go the crates at lightning speed. Go into this, output, turn into fuel, make some sandwiches. What's the deal? Why don't these have a... Oh, of course, their input is full. What's a good way to alleviate this and allow me to get a better idea of where I'm at? Delete cheese. GTFO cheese. Because I need to fill up my fuel system so it's more consistent. We should actually see some crates come out. I guess we won't see them as much because they're prioritized to go on the bottom line. Alright, we're all good. This is backed up now, which is what we need. So last but not least, the line. So the layer that this is on is down here, so I might as well make the kitchen that it outputs from on line with my bottom food market. Okay, so right here. Oops. Probably need 2 lines from everything though, now that I think about it. So it does need to be on level then if I want to do that without having nightmares. Honestly, I'll just move the output down then. Once I get to that point, that'll be easier. So 2 lines from everything. I have 6 accessible sides, so 2 of them can be flat, and then the other ones have to be tall. So sandwich is down here. From here I can do, these can be 2 of my flat ones can come from these ones. Then I'll have to stack the lines from the other areas. Okay. I've done this incorrectly. No, not. I mean, yes, I have, but not as incorrectly as I thought. Okay. I'll feed items in through this part of the line. This is now full, and now we need the cheese, which is over here. I'll probably want to consolidate the cheese into a barn before moving it, because that will make life easier. Honestly, no, I only need 1 line from each. Let's go round up and over, I guess. I have space to do that. Yeah, I do. Oh, we're reaching tangled territory again. Should be okay. Should survive. I don't even need to do it right there, I can go further out. Yeah, why am I even trying to go up? I could just go around. So I have 1 line out here and then 1 line out on the other part. That's the solution. guess that's why I would stack the line right here, so then it don't add additional footprint by having to extend one block further. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Eventually I'll get this, and then I'll have sandwiches. There we go. So let me build this bottom line first. Oh, wait. That was almost a catastrophe. Good thing there's nothing going through this line right now, otherwise it would all be on this conveyor belt. Alright. Now I can build the second one. Throw the grabbers on it, and we should be in the business. Who the heck puts cheese on their chicken sandwiches? Yeah, I know. It's not a good flavor combination. Sandwiches. This isn't level. Oh wait, yeah, I already knew that. Lettuce, yes. Mayo, yes. Pickles, maybe. Cheese, no. I feel pickles are a good choice, because, I mean, what, isn't that I guess, isn't that, what is it, Chick-fil-A uses pickle juice or something? But also, I love pickles, so it's, I don't know. I'm biased, I guess, that's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Yeah. The dill and the vinegar, are you saying the cucumber doesn't bring anything to the table? You don't like the slimy goodness that is a pickle on a chicken sandwich? Unlimited sandwiches. I feel like I've done something to make this line go way faster than the other ones. I guess it's just because I haven't burned through my backlog of chicken yet. But we should have more consistent happiness now. Obviously, there's still, until we get that last line hooked up, it's not gonna be enough, but it is at least an improvement. And it appears to be enough to stop my hemorrhaging of gold coins, which is the important part. At this point, it's 4:30 in the morning. I have to get up for work an hour earlier than normal because it's Friday. So 4:30 is an irresponsible time for me to finish the stream anyway, but now it's even more irresponsible. So I refactored 2 lines. Next stream I'll refactor the other 2 food lines, and then hopefully we will be meeting demand on all of those fronts and we can move on to general goods. Until then, thanks for coming out, guys, and I'll see you. What was the other one? I destroyed my juice line, and I just made a butter line, but smaller. Although I feel like I did something wrong because it's, as you can see, it's trickling at a much lower rate than my sandwiches. Yeah, I'm gonna make veggie stew, and then I'm going to make meat stew, and then I'll deal with the terrible mess of crap that I have that is my general goods stuff. So, until then, see you guys tomorrow probably. Thanks for coming out.